In 2019, independent filmmaker Gordy Price was served a subpoena for filming parts of his horror movie Crawford Road in Colonial National Historical Park without a permit. Price was summoned to appear in federal court and risk possible fines, jail time, or both. What began as a simple disagreement over permits escalated into a landmark First Amendment case.
I'm Bob Corn-Revere. I'm Chief Counsel of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression.
I'm Gordy Price, and I'm the culprit in Price versus Barr.
My name is Ashley Cullins, and I'm an entertainment journalist and the former senior business editor for The Hollywood Reporter.
I'm Connor Burkesmith. I'm a photographer and videographer.
Hi, I'm James Person, a Virginia-based independent filmmaker.
I'm Colin McDonnell. I'm an attorney at the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, also known as FIRE.
I'm Alex Rienzie. I'm a filmmaker here in the Tetons.
The case involved a federal law that had been passed in 2000 that required for any commercial filming on federal lands for the filmmaker to get a permit from the National Park Service.
The rules were deeply unfair to people who make film as art.
These laws and regulations were actively preventing them from engaging in First Amendment protected speech.
And what made you decide to, deal with this nobody filmmaker?
Because not only was it interesting, you had an indie filmmaker going up against the federal government, but also there were serious First Amendment implications that were much bigger than this individual case.
There was basically, First Amendment infringement going on, and we were like, let's do it. Let's film anyway.
The one couple, I think she was in some of the paperwork, Carrie and Nate. And
They were fined like $2,500.
The government doesn't get to tax people, doesn't get to tax American citizens for the exercise of basic rights.
This was just a tax on filmmaking, and that it served no real purpose in protecting the parks.
As a result of the publicity, the National Park Service started threatening us with criminal charges.
It was preventing them from creating this film because of the threat of prosecution hanging over them.
Someone who visits the park in the same way as any other tourist, but then happens to post it and may make a few dollars from it. That was also considered to be a federal crime.
Gordy was accessible. He had a music store in York County. They knew who he was. This film was getting all of this press, and I guess the area of York County and Crawford Road and the things that happened, let that be just what it is. It happened. Let's put it in ancient history.
To me, the biggest issue here was that the problem was always about the content of the speech.
We decided at the time that this was a matter ripe for Supreme Court review, and we filed what is called a petition for certiorari, which is a request for the Supreme Court to weigh in on a given matter. You don't have to ask the government permission. You don't have to ask the government for a license to be able to speak. And whether you're talking about people who are doing photography on public lands or giving a speech or having a demonstration, that the First Amendment still applies and still requires the government to adhere to those fundamental principles and those rights.